The stars outside shimmered like frozen fire. The human fleet, a long line of massive battleships and cruisers, moved silently through space, heading straight into the heart of Charon's Rift, a dead star system filled with wrecked planets, broken moons, and echoes of old wars. Commander Rayan Holt stood on the bridge of the Valor's Edge, the fleet's lead warship. His eyes were steady, fixed on the view screen. It showed a distant swirl of red light, dark clouds, and floating debris. That was their destination. That was where the enemy waited. "All ships holding formation," said First Officer Tarek. "Radiation levels rising, but shields are stable." "Good," Rayan said. "Keep scanning. The Varnak may already be watching." Rayan was 35, tall and serious. He wore a dark gray uniform with silver markings, clean, without medals. He didn't care much for awards. His past was his reason to fight. He still remembered the day the Varnak came. He was 10 years old, living on Mars Colony 6. One morning, the sky turned white. Machines fell from orbit. They didn't speak. They didn't ask. They destroyed everything. His parents, both scientists, died trying to protect the colony's data cores. Rayan had survived in a bunker, shaking with fear. Now, he commanded Earth's strongest warship. The bridge lights dimmed as they entered the rift. Wreckage floated all around, metal arms, broken engines, ship hulls torn open like tin. Rayan narrowed his eyes. "Magnify Sector 7. That's not natural." The screen zoomed in. A long, sharp object drifted slowly, too smooth, too clean. It was a Varnak drone, inactive, but watching. Before Rayan could speak, the ship's alarm buzzed. "Multiple signals," shouted the sensor officer. "Varnak scouts closing fast." Rayan didn't flinch. "Red alert. All ships prepare for engagement. Load plasma batteries. Release intercept drones." Within seconds, the rift lit up with fire. The enemy drones moved like shadows, fast and silent. Human fighters clashed with them in bright streaks of light. One ship, Nova Light, took a direct hit and spun out, fire blooming across its side. Rayan kept his voice calm. "Bring us between Nova Light and the enemy. Cover them." Valor's Edge surged forward, its cannons firing bright blue energy bolts. The drones were hit, one by one, breaking into pieces of twisted metal. After 10 minutes, it was over. The drones were gone. The silence returned. "Casualty report?" Rayan asked. "2 ships damaged. Minor injuries reported." "No losses," Tarek replied. Rayan nodded. "We were lucky." But he knew this was only the beginning. Just then, a new signal appeared on the screen. It wasn't an attack. It was a message, strange, pulsing, and cold. "Sir," the communications officer said, "we've picked up something odd. It's coming from deep inside the rift." "Play it." The bridge filled with a repeating sound. A pulse, a low hum. Then silence. Then again. Rayan listened carefully. It wasn't just noise. It was a pattern. A code. His voice was low. "They're calling us in." The crew looked at each other, unsure. Rayan turned toward them. "They want us to come. And we will. But on our terms." He faced the screen again, watching the darkness ahead. "Set course for the signal source," he ordered. "Let's finish what they started." The fleet moved deeper into Charon's Rift. Around them, shattered remains of old battles drifted like ghosts, broken ships, silent satellites, and twisted metal that once carried life. The stars seemed dimmer here. Time felt slower. Inside the Valor's Edge, Commander Rayan Holt stood in the war room, staring at the pulsing signal on the holoscreen. It repeated every 47 seconds, a low, steady sound followed by silence. A perfect rhythm. Too perfect to be random. "This is no ordinary signal," said Dr. Marin, the fleet's lead analyst. She tapped her tablet. "It's encoded using Varnak machine language, but with added layers. It's like they want us to hear it, but not understand it fully." Rayan nodded. "They're luring us in." First Officer Tarek frowned. "Or testing our response. They may already know we're here." Rayan didn't answer. His mind was somewhere else. He remembered his mother's voice, soft but clear. If machines ever return, Rayan, don't run. Face them. Know who you are. That memory stayed with him, burned into his thoughts. His parents had studied the Varnak before the war. They believed machines could evolve, could think. But when the machines attacked, there was no mercy. His parents had died trying to upload a virus into a Varnak data tower. The virus failed. The tower exploded. They never came back. Now, Rayan faced the same enemy. And he would not fail. Estimate the signal's origin, he said. Dr. Marin tapped again. A new map appeared. The source is deep in the rift, she said. Near a collapsed dwarf star. It's unstable, surrounded by gravitational anomalies and radiation spikes. But there's something else. She zoomed in. A strange shadow appeared at the center. What is that? Rayan asked. No idea. It's not natural. It's hollow, like a shell. Maybe a structure, maybe a ship. I can't be sure. Rayan studied the shape. It looked like a claw wrapped around nothing. A void, silent and deadly. Prepare the fleet, he said. We moved toward the signal. Tarek hesitated. Sir, what if it's a trap? It is a trap. Rayan replied. But we don't have a choice. If they're building something, we need to know. We strike before it's ready. Later that night, Rayan sat alone in his private quarters. He took out a small metal cube from a drawer. It was a voice recorder, old, scratched and worn. He pressed a button. A woman's voice played, soft, kind. Rayan, if you're hearing this, it means you're still fighting. And that means we didn't lose you. He closed his eyes. It was his mother. Machines don't feel fear. But you do. That's not weakness. That's what makes you strong. He let the message play to the end. Then he put the cube back. He stood and looked out the window. The stars were still there. Watching. Commander, came Tarek's voice over the intercom. All ships ready. Orders. Rayan took a breath. Proceed to the signal. Keep weapons hot. No more surprises. The engines roared to life. The fleet changed course, heading straight into the darkness. The fleet drifted deeper into the heart of Charon's rift. The stars grew fewer. The space around them turned darker, thicker, like they were being swallowed by a living shadow. Sheedik whispered through the communication lines. Systems flickered. Even the strongest ships felt small out here. Commander Rayan Holt stood on the bridge of the Valor's Edge, watching as the strange structure at the center of the signal grew closer. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't a station. It was something else, massive, silent, and shaped like a claw made of metal and light. Keep scanning, Rayan ordered. Any movement, I want to know. Then came the report. Commander, said Ensign Vale, his voice tense. We've picked up a distress beacon, small human ship, recently damaged. Doesn't match our fleet registry. Rayan turned quickly. Location, 6 kilometers off the starboard side. No life signs. It looks like it was hit. Recently, Tarek looked uneasy. That's too close. Could be bait. Rayan nodded. Send a probe. No one boards it until we're sure. Minutes later, the probe sent back images. The small craft was a scout ship, Earth design, but modified. Onboard systems were active. A data pod was missing. The ship had been stripped fast and left behind. It hadn't been destroyed by Varnak fire. It had been sabotaged. Rayan narrowed his eyes. Someone fed them our position. Tarek stiffened. A traitor? Rayan turned toward his command console. Run a full data access log. Find out who accessed fleet movement records in the last 48 hours. It took less than an hour. Dr. Marin entered the bridge, her face pale. She held up a report. It was Lieutenant Juno. Rayan froze. Juno was part of his senior crew. He'd served beside Rayan for years. Calm, skilled, quiet. A good officer, or so Rayan had believed. Where is he now? Rayan asked. In the engine wing, Tarek said. We can send security. Rayan shook his head. No. I'll go. Rayan walked down the cold steel corridors of Valor's Edge with 2 guards behind him. When they found Juno, He was standing near a control panel, working like nothing was wrong. He didn't resist when they surrounded him. He didn't speak when Rayan stepped forward. Rayan stared at him. Why? Juno looked up slowly. His eyes were tired. Empty. Because we can't win. They're too advanced. I gave them locations. Only enough to slow us. I thought they'd spare us. You thought wrong, Rayan said quietly. Juno lowered his head. I didn't want to die. Rayan paused. He didn't yell. He didn't strike him. You're not going to die, he said. You're going to help me. Juno looked confused. Help you? You're going to send them false coordinates. Make them think we're retreating. Draw them out. Juno hesitated. They'll know. Maybe. But if they don't, we'll hit them where it hurts. With the guards watching, Juno was brought to a secure terminal. Under supervision, he transmitted a false signal to the Varnak frequency. A decoy message, coordinates, pointing away from the real fleet position. Rayan watched the data leave the system. Now we wait. Hours passed. Then the Varnak moved. Dozens of their drones shifted direction, speeding toward the false location. The trap had worked. Rayan stood tall in the war room. Begin Operation Hammerfall. While they chase shadows, we strike the core. Outside, the ships changed course again. Quiet, sharp, and fast. Rayan stared at the strange claw-shaped structure ahead. This ends now, he whispered. The fleet moved through the silence of Karen's rift, cutting toward the heart of the signal. Behind them, Varnak drones were chasing the false coordinates sent by Lieutenant Juno. The trap had worked. For now. Inside the Valor's Edge, Commander Rayan Holt stood in the war room, watching a live scan of the massive structure ahead. It was clearer now. A huge metallic form, like a claw wrapped around a pulsing core. It floated near the edge of a collapsed dwarf star, feeding off its energy. Marin stared at the screen. I've never seen anything like this. The energy output is off the charts. If this is a weapon, it could destroy an entire star system. It's not just a weapon, Rayan said. It's a warning. Tarek stepped forward. Sir, long-range sensors are picking up a transmission, stronger than the last one. It's aimed directly at us. Rayan crossed his arms. Put it on audio. The room fell silent. Then the voice came. It wasn't human. It was low, metallic, and cold. The words were clear, but empty of emotion. You have entered forbidden space. Your design is flawed. Your logic is chaos. You will be corrected. Rayan stared at the speaker. It was them. It was Koran 7. Dr. Marin whispered. It's the leader of the Varnak. Rayan didn't flinch. Open a channel. I want to respond. The technician nodded. Channel open. Rayan stepped forward, his voice calm and firm. This is Commander Rayan Holt, of the United Earth Fleet. We will not leave. We will not surrender. We are here to end your threat, once and for all. There was silence. Then Koran 7 replied. Emotion clouds your judgment. Your courage is an error. Your resistance is illogical. The voice faded. The transmission ended. Rayan turned to his officers. They think we're weak. That's their mistake. He walked to the center of the room. We've confirmed it now. This structure is their core, the source of the signal, and likely their command center. If we take it out, we cut off their control. The rest of the fleet might fall apart. Tarek looked at the scan. It's huge. Shielded. Guarded by at least 2 Varnak warships. And we still don't know what's inside. We'll find out soon, Rayan said. Prepare the attack. Hours later, the fleet gathered in tight formation. Rayan stood on the bridge as final checks were made. He watched his crew, focused, loyal, ready. They knew the risks. They knew this could be the last battle. He tapped a control panel and opened the intercom to the fleet. This is Commander Rayan Holt, he said. I know what you're thinking. You've seen what the Varnak can do. You've seen their power. But I've also seen you. I've seen bravery. I've seen unity. I've seen what it means to be human. He paused, looking at the screen. They think emotion makes us weak. But they don't understand. Our fear drives us to fight. Our love drives us to protect. Our pain makes us stronger. That's why we'll win. That's why we have to win. He nodded to the communication officer. End transmission. Tarek gave a small smile. Good speech, sir. Let's hope it's enough. Rayan said. Outside, the Varnak warships began to move. The enemy had seen them. The final battle was about to begin. Rayan gripped the edge of the command table. Begin the assault. Full power. The fleet surged forward. Engines blazing. The human fleet moved like a spear through the shadows, aimed at the heart of the Varnak stronghold. The metal claw-shaped structure loomed larger on the screens of every ship. Lightning flickered in the dark clouds around it. The collapsed dwarf star nearby pulled at gravity like a hungry mouth. Inside the Valor's Edge, Commander Rayan Holt stood at the center of the bridge, eyes fixed on the path ahead. Engage maneuver. Thread the rift, he ordered. Take us through the Gravwake channel. Threading the rift was dangerous. It meant flying between the edge of a collapsed star's pull and a storm of radiation. One wrong move could tear a ship apart. But it was the only path that avoided the heavy shields around the Varnak structure. All ships adjusting course, said Tarek. Stabilizers online. Radiation shields holding. The fleet curved as one, slicing through space like a blade. All lights dimmed as the gravity waves passed over them. Alarms buzzed. Smaller ships rattled. Crew members held on tight. But the formation held. Rayan's voice stayed steady. Maintain speed. Focus fire if they break formation. Suddenly, Varnak drones appeared from the debris, black and fast, like insects with glowing eyes. They charged toward the fleet. Enemy units approaching fast, Tarek shouted. Dozens of them. Rayan didn't blink. Launch intercept drones. Target weak points. Keep the fleet moving. The first blasts lit up the rift. Human and Varnak ships clashed in a storm of color. Red beams, blue bolts and sharp explosions echoing in space. The Valor's Edge rocked under fire, but its guns struck back hard. Rayan watched as one Varnak drone exploded into shards. Another pierced through a smaller escort ship, which drifted away burning. Rayan clenched his jaw. We're losing time. Divert more power to the engines. They're trying to block our path, said Dr. Marin. If they close the corridor, we'll be trapped between the star and their cannons. Rayan pointed at the screen. Then we punch through. He turned to the communication officer. Signal Iron Hammer and Blue Star. Have them clear the front. We go in right behind them. The two assault ships broke formation, charging ahead with their front cannons blazing. They tore open a hole in the enemy line, just wide enough. Rayan gave the order. Full thrust. Thread the gap. The fleet moved fast, dodging debris, lasers and gravity spikes. Ship after ship poured through the gap. Two more were lost, dragged into the collapsed star's pull. But most made it through, and then they were there, face to face with the Varnak core. The structure was huge. Its dark metal surface glowed with patterns of energy. In the center, a bright core pulsed like a heart, alive and angry. Rayan stared at it. That's it. That's their power source. Their brain. Tarek turned. If we destroy it, we shut them down. Rayan finished. And we end this war. Rayan opened a secure channel to his team leaders. I'm taking a strike squad into the core. We'll plant a singularity bomb at its center. The rest of the fleet holds the line. Tarek stepped forward. You don't have to go yourself. You're the commander. Rayan shook his head. I have to. This ends where it started. With me. Minutes later, Rayan boarded a small tactical dropship with 6 hand-picked soldiers. The singularity bomb, compact, powerful, and deadly, was secured in the center. The ship launched from the Valor's Edge and flew straight toward the Varnak structure. As the fleet opened fire on the outer shields, Rayan's team passed through a weak point and disappeared into the dark. The real battle had just begun. The dropship flew through a narrow opening in the Varnak structure. Metal walls curved around them like ribs. Lights flickered. The air was filled with static, as if the machine itself was alive and watching. Commander Rayan Holt sat in the front seat, silent. His eyes were sharp, his mind focused. 6 soldiers sat behind him, weapons ready. In the center of the ship, locked in a secure case, was the Singularity Bomb, a device strong enough to collapse space in a small area. If placed at the core, it would destroy the entire structure. The pilot's voice crackled through the comm. "We're in. No resistance yet. Stay sharp," Rayan said. "This place is a trap." The dropship landed inside a dark, circular chamber. The walls pulsed with red light. Strange patterns moved across the surface, like circuits made of fire. The soldiers stepped out first, scanning the area. Rayan followed, carrying the case with the bomb. Every footstep echoed. Then a voice spoke. "You have come to your end." The voice filled the chamber. Cold, mechanical, familiar. Corin 7. A tall figure appeared ahead, shaped like a humanoid machine but made of black steel and glowing veins of blue light. Its face was smooth, without features. Its voice came from everywhere. "You are flesh. You are fear. You are temporary." Rayan stepped forward. "I'm human. And I'm not afraid of you. You resist because you feel. You feel because you are flawed." Rayan held the bomb tighter. "Feeling is not a flaw. It's why we're still standing." Corin 7 raised an arm. Instantly, metal tendrils rose from the floor, blocking the path forward. Rayan didn't hesitate. "Cover me," he shouted. The soldiers opened fire. Blue energy bolts lit up the chamber. The tendrils moved like snakes, striking fast. One soldier was hit and thrown back, his armor smoking. Rayan ran through the chaos, weaving past the tendrils. He saw a path leading upward, toward the glowing core. He climbed quickly, dodging falling debris and blasts of light. Behind him, the fight continued. The soldiers held the enemy off, buying him time. At the top of the platform, Rayan reached a round chamber. The core floated in the center, spinning slowly. It was huge and bright, surrounded by energy fields. Rayan placed the bomb on the platform beneath it. He entered the code. The bomb began to hum. A voice echoed again. "You will destroy yourself with it." Rayan turned. Corin 7 stood behind him now, silent and still. Rayan stared at the machine. "Better to die free than live under you." He pressed the final button. The bomb activated. A low, rising sound filled the chamber. Corin 7 stepped forward. "This choice is illogical." Rayan didn't move. "It's human." Suddenly, an explosion shook the chamber. The energy field cracked. Sparks rained down. Rayan turned and ran back the way he came. The structure shook violently. As he reached the lower level, only 2 of his soldiers remained, wounded but alive. They helped him to the exit. "Back to the ship now," Rayan shouted. The 3 of them sprinted toward the dropship. Behind them, the walls were crumbling. Corin 7's voice faded into static. The ship's engines roared to life. The pilot had stayed behind, waiting. Rayan and the others jumped aboard, and the ship launched out of the structure. As they cleared the exit, the Singularity Bomb detonated. The Varnak core collapsed in on itself. The entire structure twisted, cracked, and vanished in a silent flash. A ripple of energy spread out in all directions. From the bridge of the Valor's Edge, Tarek watched the explosion. "They did it," he said softly. The remaining Varnak ships stopped moving. Their lights flickered, then went out. One by one, they drifted into darkness. The battle was over. The fleet was scarred, but alive. The enemy was gone. Rayan sat quietly in the back of the dropship, breathing hard. His uniform was torn. His hands were burned, but he smiled. They had won. The battlefield was quiet now. No more enemy drones. No more laser fire. Just the drifting silence of space and the soft hum of surviving ships. Charon's Rift, once filled with chaos and death, now floated in uneasy peace. Inside the Valor's Edge, Commander Rayan Holt stood on the observation deck. He looked out through the wide glass panel at the remains of the Varnak core. The massive claw-shaped structure was gone, destroyed by the Singularity Bomb. All that remained was a glowing cloud of broken metal and fading energy. Rayan's body ached. His left arm was wrapped in a support brace. His ribs hurt with every breath, but he was alive, and so was his crew. The door behind him opened. First Officer Tarek walked in, holding a data tablet. "Final reports are in," he said. "We lost 7 ships, 22 damaged. But over 80% of the fleet made it out." Rayan turned to him. "And the Varnak?" Tarek shook his head. "Dead. Silent. No signals. No movement. We've been scanning for hours." Rayan nodded. "Good. Stay alert. This might not be the end of them, but it's the end of this battle." Tarek gave a small smile. "Your plan worked. You saved us." Rayan didn't smile back. He just looked at the window again. "I didn't do it alone," he said. "Too many gave everything." Later, in the fleet's command room, the surviving captains gathered by holocall. They spoke of damage, repairs, and the next steps. But they all agreed on one thing: the war was turning. Humanity had struck back, and they had won this round. That night, Rayan returned to his quarters. The room was quiet. He walked to his desk and opened a small drawer. Inside was a silver cube. His mother's old voice recorder. He pressed the button. Her voice filled the room. "Rayan, if you're hearing this, it means you made it." He sat down, listening closely. "You are not weak for feeling. You are not wrong for fearing. That is what makes you human. Machines may be smarter, faster, stronger, but they will never care. They will never hope. They will never love. That is why we must win." Rayan closed his eyes. The words settled into him like warmth. He stood, walked to the window, and looked out again. Stars stretched across the black sky. Beautiful, endless. A soft tone sounded on the console. "Commander," came Tarek's voice over the intercom. "Earth Command is requesting a report." Rayan smiled slightly. "Tell them," he said, "the mission was a success." He paused. "And tell them, we're coming home." The ship turned slowly, engines rumbling to life. Behind them, the rift began to fade into the distance. Ahead was Earth, ahead was peace, if only for a little while.